Hey guys, how's it going? I'm Mel from MelDidItHerself, and I'm a social service worker turned furniture refinisher, DIYer, small business owner, and content creator. I've learned everything I know about these industries thanks to people who shared their knowledge on the internet. So I'm paying it forward by bringing you my tips, lessons learned, and sharing my journey in this space with you. So thank you so much for being here, being curious, and being a lifelong learner like me. Let's hop into it. Welcome, 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 my friends, to the inaugural podcast. Holy shit. I'm so excited to be finally taking on this really exciting project that's been living in my head for some time now. Super pumped that it's finally here. So, some of you might be joining me from my community over on Instagram or TikTok at MelDidItHerself, or you might have come across me while searching for something new to listen to. Or better yet, maybe you had a friend tell you to check it out. Whatever the reason, I just want to thank you so much for being here and joining me over here. And I intend on making this a space full of education, motivation, learning as we go, and just sharing all aspects of my journey in furniture refinishing and business with you. So let's take a step back and let me tell you why I felt a podcast was the next right step. So since early 2020, around the time of the pandemic beginning, podcasts have quickly become a really big part of my everyday routine. When lockdown started for us here in Canada in March 2020, I found myself having a lot more free time in my day without a whole lot to fill the void. I found myself consuming a lot more content, and that was around the time that my obsession with DIY and home decor and furniture makeovers all started. So I was filling a lot of that empty time with YouTube videos mostly and tutorials and that kind of thing, and watching all these great creators who are just guiding me through so much information and teaching me how to do so many of the things that I now know how to do today. And I was totally hooked, and I worked my way back through the catalog of videos that these great DIYers had available online. But then after a while, I found myself kind of waiting for them to upload every week. And then I would sprint through all the videos that they uploaded because I was so excited for what they would be sharing, and then I would be waiting for the rest of the week for them to upload more. But what I also realized during that time is that I was spending a lot of time sitting on the couch watching these videos. And being the busybody that I am, it wasn't aligning very well with me as like a long-term approach to learning and entertainment. So for a while, I would carry my phone around in one hand and like trying to do different chores around the house and tend to whatever that I was doing. But then one day when I was looking through Spotify for new music to listen to, I realized that there was a podcast category and I'd never really explored or even thought about it. And I obviously knew what podcasts were before that, but I'd never really like looked into if there was ones that would interest me. So I did, and there was. And fast forward to today, basically any static air that I have in my day, I will throw on my AirPods and listen to a podcast, which annoys my husband because he could never really get my attention. But that's a different issue. So I love them for entertainment purposes, but more than that, I find it such a useful way for me to work more learning into my days and just keep me motivated and on track. It's a way that I can learn passively while getting into a state of flow with whatever I'm doing, and then just passively plug away at my to-do list while focusing on the content that I'm listening to. So I love listening to podcasts that are geared towards entrepreneurs, content creators, and furniture refinishers, and covering topics like personal finance, finding focus, marketing, goal setting, personal development, career success, health and wellness, and then maybe a sprinkle or two of true crime and some of my favorite comedians. These podcasts have been such an invaluable resource to me and my personal, professional, physical, and mental development over the past couple years, and I owe it to the podcast hosts and creators who show up every week to bring this knowledge to me. So I figured, what the hell's holding me back from bringing what I know to others too? So here we are, because I try not to overthink things and let it get in my way. Better to beg forgiveness and ask permission or something like that? I don't know. Anyways, let's talk Mel Did It Herself and what you can expect from me every week when we show up here together. I mentioned earlier that I started to become a DIY and home decor fanatic around the beginning of the pandemic. And that space is where I started seeing people doing furniture makeovers and just absolutely transforming the pieces that they either already had in their homes or that they came across. And I honestly wouldn't even say that I was especially drawn to that aspect of interior design or anything like that, but I was just picking up tips as I watched all of this content and got a general idea of what steps went into a project like that. So when I got on one of my organization sprees one day amidst the uncertainty at the beginning of COVID and trying to control my surroundings, as I have a tendency to do, I began rearranging our basement and I came across some furniture pieces that my parents had brought to us when they had last visited. We had bought our first home the summer before, which was in August 2019, and we were slowly furnishing and decorating it over time. And I'm honestly not even sure if my mom had brought it thinking that we could actually use it or if she might have just wanted to clear out some clutter that it was causing in her home. But she brought us my late grandma's sewing table and then a set of her nightstands. All were solid wood, vintage, well crafted, and though they were definitely showing their years of wear, they were still in one piece and actually pretty ideal in terms of size for our space. So, as a make work project, I decided to give her a go and make the sewing table match the kind of boho vibe that I was slowly bringing to our guest room. And I spray painted it fully. Like, took 3 cans of Emerald Hunter green spray paint and sprayed the fuck out of it, which, knowing what I know now, definitely would not have been my first thought or approach. But I gotta say, it turned out looking pretty great, and it has held up great since, so fair enough. Another great reminder not to overthink things too much, am I right? So that first project really just gave me the confidence to take on the next project, which were the wooden nightstands. I went and found an orbital sander that was on clearance at my local home hardware. I figured out how to sand down, stain, and seal the nightstands. And again, I would have probably had a bit more finesse if I were taking the project on today, but ultimately they turned out great and we still use them in our bedroom. So after that, I was relatively obsessed with learning all the things that I could in terms of furniture painting and refinishing and restoration and just taking in whatever knowledge I could in order to keep doing fun new things to the furniture projects that I came across and just seeing how they turned out. The first projects I took on really did give me the quick wins that I needed in order to pump my own tires and give me the confidence boost just to keep trying things out, which is why I always recommend trying out a smaller project that's manageable when you're first starting out. Although I probably wouldn't recommend starting off with like a family heirloom from a deceased relative because definitely could have gone bad for sure and I might have regretted that choice. So then today, as I record this, it's over 2 years later and I've started my own furniture refinishing small business in my city, which is Ottawa, Ontario. Shout out to anyone else in the city that fun forgot. And I do content creation just to help share the knowledge that I've picked up over the years from awesome creators who are doing the same just so I can pay it back. I have absolutely loved the community that I've found in this space, both with other furniture refinishers around the world who are constantly inspiring and teaching me more and more, and those who follow me on social media and support and motivate me to create every day, as well as the amazing clients that I've had the opportunity to refinish a piece of furniture for. I can honestly say that this journey has just filled me up in such a meaningful way. And I wake up every day excited to plug away at a project and create. So thank you so much for being a part of that, even if today is your first day joining me. Okay, stop it. I'm getting emotional. Okay, so I do need your help because I want to make this podcast the best and most useful that it can be for you. So I need to know, what do you want me to cover? I want this to be a space both for someone who has never taken on a furniture refinishing project of their own, but is interested in learning more, as well as for hobbyist refinishers who are maybe thinking of turning it into a business or not, and then also seasoned full-time refinishers. I want everybody to have a little bit that they can pick and pull from. So I'm going to bring you the no BS approach to how to tackle furniture painting and refinishing projects, any lessons that I've learned along the way in terms of starting a business doing this and navigating everything within that world, and how together we can bring new life to the old and unloved. But I want to know specifics, so help me out and go check out my Instagram post on my page at MelDidItHerself about launching episode 1 of this podcast, and leave me a comment letting me know any topics that you'd like to see covered, either specific questions you have, or just let me know if you're excited for more episodes to come. And if you're interested, you can always follow me on TikTok and YouTube. Both are MelDidItHerself. And something that you may not know about me, I love little motivational messages. They literally always get me fired up, and I keep a running list of ones that are especially catchy or speak to me in the Notes app on my phone. So, I'm going to end every podcast episode with one of those that I've noted down over the years in hopes that when you leave our time here each week, that you're feeling inspired, motivated, and then ready to take on whatever comes your way that week. So this week's Mel's motivational message is one day or day one, you decide. Today, with the launch of this podcast, is another day one for me. And what are you going to choose for that goal or project that you've had in your mind? Take it on one day or decide that today's day one? If you are enjoying the podcast so far, I would love if you would go to the podcast page on whatever platform you're listening on today and leave me a review, preferably 5 stars, but I'll leave that part up to you. Because that will just help this get pushed out to more people so they can discover and join us on this furniture refinishing ride. All right, that's it for now. I appreciate your time, and I'll catch you guys next week. Bye!